Hey, welcome to the Backwoods Gourmet. Today I'm going to show you the entire process of making some good old southern mustard greens, from the picking to the processing to the cooking, and my favorite part, the eating. So y'all stay tuned. So the biggest thing I wanted to show you today is how we use what we grow here in the garden. We're going to show you the whole thing, start to finish. We're going to pick them. You know, it's springtime here. You know, second week of February here in Florida. It's spring already, so they're starting to bolt, starting to go to seed. Bugs are getting after them because these are organically grown. So we're going to go ahead and get those harvested. We got some sweet red and Vidalia onions to go in that spot. We got the plants ready to go. So it's time to get those out, get them cooked. What we can eat, we're going to go ahead and freeze them. And, you know, I'll have greens for well into the summer. So today our other chore is to finish harvesting all these mustard greens. If you look closely down there, you can see the aphids have gotten to them pretty big time. And these are organic, so I don't want to spray them. And the weather's getting really warm really fast here. This is February, so we're gonna go ahead and cut all these. And I have sweet red and Vidalia strain onions to go in these two rows, so aphids don't bother them. So we're gonna go ahead and pick all of these, pull them up, and plant onions here today. So those aphid infested buds on those guys going right here to my girls. They love them. Come on. They'll eat them right out of my hand. But we don't have time for that, so we'll toss them over there and they'll go after them. So they get their greens and their protein from all those aphids. Alright, so here's how I prep my greens. You know, there's still a lot of aphids on these guys. But rather than washing every individual leaf, I'm just going to go ahead and strip them right into a large volume of water. I use a cooler just because it's a big container. Use whatever you got, and I don't like those tough stems, so you know, we'll get any big debris like leaves. It's already spring around here, so live oaks are spitting off leaves like crazy. Ground's covered in acorns already, so gonna have some stuff to do in the yard here. But you strip it into these large volume of water, kind of saves a step for me. And then what we'll do is we'll give them a little swish every once in a while. That'll knock most of the bugs off of them, and then we'll take them out. Much easier to deal with when they're already stripped of their stem. And then we'll wash them. Well, since these are kind of buggy now, they were beautiful earlier in the year, but as soon as it started getting hot back in the 80s, and we're not spraying, here comes the aphids. So we got them all stripped, we got them in the cooler. We're going to kind of swishing them around a little bit, and we're going to leave them fully submerged in there for a little while. And that's going to drown the bugs so they don't have the ability to hold on. And then over here we have all the stems. And so we're going to go ahead and put those in the compost bin since the chickens already had their fill. Time for some more chicken manure. When you bring these out, get a little area where you got some water, swish them in your fingers, sling them, and over into another tub. This will get about 99% of the dirt, bugs off of them the first time. So if you look down in that cooler now, there's all your bugs and debris. Came off the leaves. So I'm going to pour this out, and then we're going to break up the leaves one more time and wash them one more time. Alright, well, you see that's the water left from the second wash, and there's very few bugs in it. Mostly it's just particles of leaves. Very few bugs. Over here, that's the whole pan, and those are ready to cook. Alright, we got our pot going over here on the propane burner, and we got about a cup and a half of hog gel and about a tablespoon and a half of freshly cracked black pepper. And then I also had already put in this water when I started it, about 2 tablespoons of salt. Do that to taste. Well, we're gonna go ahead and season our water right now is what we're doing. Hey, we may even go grab some green onions right out of the garden there and stick those in there too. Yummy. So let's go to the store here and get some fresh green onions. And I need to keep picking on these guys. I got a lot of them growing in this little window box. Here is all I do. I slice that bottom of it off. I grab that first yellowing stem, pull it off just like that, ready to go. Let's get a couple. I need to thin them out in here a little bit. Let's try to get some in the middle. Let's go about 3. Alright. Same thing. Got a knife. Just take that root end off. Go back here and find your first brown leaf. Peel it right off. Most all the dirt comes right off with that. This one kind of snapped there. There's a lot of them growing in this one little box, so there we go. Gives those a quick little rinse, and we'll chop them right into the pot. No need for fancy cutting here. This is country cooking. Straight out of the garden, right into a pot. If you've never experienced this before, I would highly recommend it. That you, even if you're growing in containers like we did, like these onions right here. There's just something about the satisfaction of growing something yourself. You know, I started these in a window box from seed over a year ago, and I'm still eating on them. So here we go. That's about enough onions. I like a little onions in my greens. Some people like that pepper sauce. Here, not so much. All right, we got our broth going there good. Smells awesome. Gonna go ahead and start putting in our mustard greens. So what I do is I put them in a little at a time and stir them down. You know, we only started with a small amount of water compared to the amount of greens we have. It doesn't take long for them to wilt down, and I put them in there about maybe, you know, 2 good scoops at a time. Stir them right down into that boiling water, and they wilt down really quick. So this pot looks pretty small, I know, for the amount of greens we have, but they're going to wilt down just like spinach. And this year's crop has been so sweet, they taste almost just like cooked spinach when they're done. Depending on the climate and you know, your soil. Here, these were grown completely organically this year, and they have probably been some of the best tasting that I've ever grown. So we're just going to repeat this process until we have all of them wilted down. All right, so now all those are all wilted down. So what I'm going to do, since we got plenty of water in there, I'm going to go ahead and take that lid off for a while. I'm going to turn that fire down and let them simmer uncovered till about half the liquid's reduced. Then we'll put the lid back on. So one thing you do want to do when you're serving up your mustard greens, you want to give them plenty of time to drain most of that moisture off before you put them on your plate, because you know otherwise you're going to have a huge puddle of that juice in there, and you need that juice for your reheat, you know, because these are even better reheated. Now if you want to take some of that juice, let's grab a, oh, that pan's pretty hot. Let's go ahead and get a nice piece of cornbread. I already buttered this. Nice piece of cornbread right there. Now that is a true Southern favorite. Go ahead and give these greens a try. I really love them. You know, there's a lot of satisfaction that goes into, you know, growing something yourself, picking it yourself, processing it yourself, cooking it up yourself. Just give them a shot. Just delicious. You know, it's getting a little later in the year, got a little more bite to them. I like that. So, but they'll be even smoother tomorrow when we reheat them again. And also, you can cook them like this, put them in a vacuum seal bag, throw them in the freezer. They'll stay good for almost a year. But you gotta cook them all the way. Don't just blanch them. A little bit of cornbread. So thanks for watching the Backwoods Gourmet. If you like what we're doing, please hit that like button right down there. You can subscribe to our channel right here. Hey, and if you want to see some more great Backwoods Gourmet videos, it's going to be right over there. We'll see you next time.